Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Very good morning and warm welcome to you all. It's my honor to host this very high level roundtable meeting as master of ceremony. And on this note, would like to welcome the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, for his valuable time and President to Ghana Investment Week in Abu Dhabi. Thank you. And we begin our today program by inviting our first speaker of the program, Mr. Yufi Grant, CEO of Ghana Investment Promotion Center, to deliver his welcome remarks. Please.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, Foreign Minister Shelley Ayokobuche, Ministers of State, and our distinguished business people. It's my pleasure to have you all here for this breakfast gathering, just to exchange ideas prior to having the business forum, which would be in the next 45 minutes. This is a breakfast meeting, so there's breakfast served. We are here with a host of Ghanaian businesses at the top level in many various sectors: the petrochemical, the finance, construction, infrastructure development, hospitality, and we believe that this is a good enough space to have the engagement at the very high level. Your Excellency, we are here to support you in the Sustainability Week, and we took advantage of it to put together the business people who have expressed interest not only in Ghana but in Africa, and want to use Ghana as a gateway. As we've all stated before, we believe that Ghana as an entry point into Africa has significant advantages. I keep saying that we are the nation in the center of the world. So we don't only look north, south, east, and west. We look forward. And in looking forward, we engage with sustainable partnerships that we believe have mutuality in the benefits. So this is the beginning of it. After this breakfast meeting, then we will have the business forum for an hour where we'll engage formally, and His Excellency will address the business people who are here formally and engage, and then we'll engage. And then after that, we have the B2Bs, where we can then have the business people actually engage with each other, and we hope that we will leave here with very constructive MOUs and interests expressed. Ghana is very ready, and Ghana is aggressively looking for partners that would help us mutually grow out of these troubling times in the world. This breakfast meeting is as formal as it is informal, so there will be no real formal speeches. His Excellency the President may, if it's in his interest, make a few comments here and there, but would like to use this to warmly welcome you and realize that this is a meeting of partners. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yufi. Allow me, please, to introduce you to His Excellency Nana Addo, President of Republic of Ghana, to deliver his presidential address.
Hello, good morning. We committed ourselves to enhancing the relations between our two countries, especially political relations as well as economic relations. And economic relations meaning people like you taking a keen interest in the Ghanaian economy. Ghana, as you know, is a country of 32 million people with a very stable democratic system of government. And in the course of my first term, which is the period 2017 to 2021, the economy with the fastest growing rate of development in West Africa and generally in Africa. We inherited an economy at the beginning of my term which was growing at some 3.4%. And in the 4 years of our first term, we managed to grow the economy at an average of 7% a year. The expansion was systematic, and its principal goal was, if you like, threefold. One, to insist on the transformation of our economy. We have historically been a raw material producing and exporting economy. And there's a limit to the amount of growth and expansion and job creation that such an economy can provide. So the emphasis and the focus has been on transforming this economy to a value-added industrializing economy. And that's why one or two of the key flagship programs of our government in the first term, which continues to be the case, were heavily focused on industrial transformation. The One District, One Factory program, the Strategic Transformation Plan of the economy. This is a major focus of our development, and it is one which hopefully we're going to be able to interest you, partnering Ghanaian companies and taking a position in the industrial development of our country. The second, necessarily, is the modernization of our agriculture. Again, you had an economy which, until we took over, was growing its agriculture at 3 to 4%. Today, systematically growing at 8%, despite all the challenges that the world last year saw the fastest rate of agricultural development in our country for 2 or 3 decades. So that is also a key aspect of our economic strategy, the transformation of our economy, the enhancement of agricultural productivity, and of course, by that process, ensuring food security in our country. And also, because this is something that we have seen in these years of agricultural transformation, Ghana becoming the breadbasket of West Africa. We're exporting a lot of foodstuffs to our neighbors and of grains, and it means that the capacity for us to expand our agriculture and at the same time generate a lot of foreign exchange for the country is very, very strong. The third major strand of the economy has been the embrace of the digital revolution. The digitization of our economy is something that has also taken significant effect and impact and is a major concern and priority of our government. We have seen also in the country some important reforms. The efficiency of our ports has been considerably enhanced. We've embraced a system which has been led by a company from Korea, the ICOMS, which has facilitated a more efficient administration of our port infrastructure. There are other reforms that have been made, all of which have gone towards facilitating and anchoring the 3 major priorities of our government. Clearly, today there's an area which none of us can overlook, and that is the development of the green economy. You have to know that from the very beginning, the attachment of our country towards the transition that is today one of the major topics of global discourse to the green economy has been an important concern. Indeed, the Paris Agreement, I believe in 2015, the Paris Agreement had as one of its co-chairs the former president of Ghana, President John Agyekum Kufuor, just to show you the identification of Ghana with the process of the transition economy. And it continues to be a very important aspect of our development, how we can move towards an economy fueled by renewable energies and the rest. So I'm trying to give you a very quick snapshot and brief overview of what the position is in our country and how much we would value very much investors from this part of the world in our economy and in our country. The people who do business in Ghana, and I hope there are several here who will testify to what I'm about to say, know it's a country which is safe, a country where your money is safe as well as your persons and your monies is safe. And we have a system of governance whereby you have an independent judiciary, which if you have to resort to, hopefully you will not have the need to, administers justice in an impartial and independent manner. You don't have a disadvantage in going to our courts because you are, quote, a foreigner. you have the same status before the courts of Ghana as Ghanaians, and you get appropriate justice if you have a problem. So this is the picture of our country that that is developing, and we believe, yes, there are difficulties, and we, just as many other countries in the world, have faced the difficulties that have come from the COVID pandemic, as well as the Russia-Ukraine war. The effects of it is well known. The impact of it is equally well known. And indeed, in our case, it has meant that we have made the decision to seek the collaboration of the IMF to repair our public finances. They took a severe hit in the process of the pandemic and of the effect of the war in Eastern Europe. We made a significant advance towards reaching an accommodation with the IMF already as we speak. A staff-level agreement has been achieved in record time between us and the IMF. And I'm anticipating that in the course of the next month, a full-grown $3 billion IMF support program with Ghana will be effected. And the signal that it will give of the restoration of confidence in our economy, and also our own determination to develop an economy where macro stability, where there are significant and credible arrangements on our balance of payments. These are the main focus of where we are today. So once again, let me say a big hello and a big welcome to all of you here, and to say that in coming here, several important Ghanaian businessmen in the hospitality section and our energy area, in our infrastructure development, both public and private elements from Ghana are here, and are hoping to be able to network with some of you, and hopefully out of this meeting we will get some fruitful partnerships that will help drive the Ghanaian economy. Thank you very much again for your time.
Mr. President, this is the list of Emirati businesses who are here, and we also have a list of Ghanaian businesses who are here. Before Mr. President sits down, I think there are some souvenirs that wanted to give to him from the...
Exactly. I will request for Mr. Walid Harib to join us on the stage. Do the honor and facilitating His Excellency with the UAE souvenirs, please. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Mr. Walid Harib. Allow me to call Ms. Devon from Khalij Times for the presidential interview with His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana.
True pleasure interviewing Mr. President. And Mr. President, if you can join me on stage whenever you're ready. First of all, we're here in Abu Dhabi. It's the Ghana Investment Week, and it's happening on the sidelines of Abu Dhabi's Sustainability Week, so it's a really great time to be here. You were here just 10 months ago.
That's right.
At Expo. So why don't we start with a bit of an overview? Where do you see the greatest potential when we're looking at, I guess, UAE, Ghana ties, especially from an economic standpoint? We have a lot of people who are excited to do business. Where should they be looking right now? What are the state of affairs?
There are the areas which are obvious areas that come, especially we talk about the oil and gas sector is an obvious area of engagement. When you know, as all of us do, the important developments that have taken place in this sector in Ghana. And I believe that in the intercourse between the Ghanaian energy sector and the UAE energy sector is one that will obviously can bear a lot of fruit. And indeed, there's already serious engagement in that area ongoing as we speak. I think also the two of the three priority areas that I spoke about, our industrial development as well as our agricultural development, are areas also which one can foresee important linkages being established between our two economies. Ghana in the era before the independence was known as the Gold Coast. And that name was deliberate because we were and continue to be a major source of gold supply to the global economy. That situation is still there, whereby we are the first or the second. There's always an argument about that as to who is the greatest gold producer in the country. But nevertheless, that's how high on the scale we are. So that's an important. But some of the modern, the green minerals that are today in play are also in Ghana in significant quantities. I speak about lithium, I speak about graphite, I speak about iron ore. And there are things that have been well documented and well mapped out. We're looking also for investment partnerships in the development of these areas as well, because it's an area that can bear a lot of fruit, both for investors from the UAE and, of course, for our own economy as well. And then finally, of course, the leisure industry, the tourist industry. Our country is now a major tourist destination, especially the Christmas era, where lots and lots of people come to Ghana, and the infrastructure in the tourist sector is growing leaps and bounds as we speak. There's still a lot of development that has to be made in the area to make it fully functional. But I look at these areas in broad terms as areas where the engagement between Ghana and UAE can bear a lot of fruit for both sides.
But also keeping in mind, as you mentioned earlier, that you'd like to move, and you will be moving from a more commodities-based economy to more industrial. So what kind of measures will the Ghana government take and make in order to help push that transition?
That transition is anchored in some ways in conventional means. You're talking about an investment climate that is propelled by law as well as by policy to be able to nurture as well as protect industrial developments. We have a very extensive investment protection code that guarantees the security of investments in our country, and at the same time has also a fiscal and monetary arrangements that are very sympathetic towards the growth and nurturing of industrial activities. The whole area of industrial parks that are being developed across the country. We have a free zones, enterprise sector. In fact, I believe the chief executive of the free zones area is here in the country. And increasingly a more and more efficient electricity supply area, making sure that power is available at affordable rates for industry is obviously very key for industrial development. So there's a raft of measures, both fiscal, monetary, as well as legal, that are there to inspire and protect industrial developments.
You mentioned electricity, but Ghana's electricity tariffs are still some of the highest in the region.
Well, but a lot of effort, a lot of work is being done systematically to bring. But because the key, yes, but at the same time, the security of supply in the electricity area is one of the highlights of the Ghanaian economy. There may be economies in the area which have lower tariffs, but then whose supply of electricity is also more unstable. That is no longer the case in Ghana. Ghana's electricity supply there is very stable and continues to be, and touch wood, will be so for the decade ahead of us.
Inshallah. You mentioned the 7% economic growth rate. This was, of course, before COVID. There was a bit of a slowdown. 2022 numbers haven't been released, but what do you expect we'll be seeing?
We'll be looking at about a 5% rate of growth, which is the target for this year, 5.6, 5.7 overall rate of growth. And we're hoping that by 2024, we'll resume the 7% trajectory that we had in the course of my first term.
So we're here, as mentioned, in Abu Dhabi. You're here, of course, for Sustainability Week. Ghana, like several other countries, made commitments at COP26 in Glasgow, COP27 in Egypt. This year, we're very excited to be hosting COP28 in the UAE. So what plans does Ghana have to increase renewable energy in the country?
The target, the conventional target we'll be working at is that by 2030, at least 10% of our energy supply will be the renewables. So far, we're talking about something in the area of 3% of our economy is dependent on renewable supplies, but we're looking at a 10% transformation. And we're hoping that by the 2050 target, the majority of our energy supplies will be in the renewables. But of course, because there's still significant deposits of the hydrocarbons especially offshore in Ghana, which are still untapped, we have to find a way of bringing the value of those resources up into play whilst managing the transition towards the renewables. I mean, this is the one of the important dilemmas of policy that we have to resolve in the short term.
So if we look at this room, a lot of potential investors, what would you say are the greatest opportunities, especially in the sustainable and green energy sector? And then what is the government of Ghana doing to protect and enhance UAE investments?
UAE investments, as I said, the picture that there is in the country is of a country that is, first of all, very stable. There's a democratic system of government. We don't have any big problem with elections, with the transfer of power after elections in Ghana. There are no eruptions and difficult. Sometimes there are challenges, inevitable in any country in the world. But as a rule, a country which is very stable has a very acceptable modern system of governance. It has both laws and policies that are there to protect us. And we want to develop this privileged relationship with the investors from the UAE, because we're looking for a privileged relationship with the UAE in general. And we believe that we have the wherewithal, the means to be able to do so. The green area, for instance, in the big deposits of lithium that we have found. We're looking for investors in that area to develop and enhance the value chain in the production of lithium in Ghana will be something that would be of great interest, both for UAE investors and, of course, for us in Ghana.
What would you say makes the UAE a strategic partner for Ghana?
First of all, its own position in the world as the crossroads of economic development, both out of Europe, out of Asia, and out of Africa, is uniquely placed to be able to take advantage of that and help drive economic growth in all these three important continents in the world. So there is that. And it is one that is already being very well leveraged by the people over here. And I think also there's a sympathetic environment. Ghanaians feel very much at home. I don't get the opportunity to come here very often, but every time I come, after I adjust to the time difference, it becomes an area where. So I think there's a lot going in the relationship that will be mutually beneficial.
So I know we don't have too much time. But maybe one last message for investors here in the audience. I know in a previous interview you said so many opportunities, so much money to be made. So what would be your final message?
You're looking at a country that is stable and that is determined to grow rapidly. And we're looking for partners that are also secure, determined to grow long-term partnerships with us in Ghana. And we believe that our country is well positioned to generate the opportunities, both for you and for us, that will give us a very, very strong future together.
President Nana Akufo-Addo, thank you so much for your time today.
Madam, thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Thank you.
Itself, I will introduce some of the UAE companies that joining us today. We have Abu Dhabi Economic Department. We have Dubai National Insurance. We have Mubadala, Masdar. I think you are familiar with that those companies. We have Dubai South CEO Mr. Mohsen Al-Awadi. We have Dubai Export. We have a Circal Group, and we can see there also Huawei company from UAE MENA region office. We have energy company by Mr. Ghanem Al-Mazroui. We have the private office of Sheikh Hamdan bin Ahmed Al Maktoum. We have I'timad on table 5 there. Those group of companies from UAE side that they have joined, and we have of course Sheikh Abdullah Naimi Gourmet Box from Ajman joining us also on food and beverage side. Moving to our next speaker, allow me to introduce His Excellency Jamal Saif Al Jarwan, Secretary General, the UAE International Investor Council, to deliver his remarks. Please.
Good morning, Excellencies, the President of Ghana, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Really honored to take part of this important gathering. This is the second time I meet His Excellency the President of Ghana. One word I may really describe him, he's very humble president. He's always in the middle of the investors, meeting people one-to-one. I really appreciate your presence this morning. And sorry being burden on you that you need to also entertain such gatherings, so you are fully excused and big excuse for you. And thank you for joining us. Very quick note, maybe I want to share with the audience this morning what UAE investment is all about. We have been in the business of investment since 50 years ago. Since the inception of this nation, we have always believed that through relationship abroad, that we build strategic relationship with nations. I'm glad with honor to announce today that UAE investment today exists and operate in more than 60 countries around the world. If you see the assets under management today, UAE total investment approximately manage investment not less than $2 trillion around the world. We are considered the #1 international investors when it comes into sovereign wealth fund, FDI outflow, or the financial and the bond market. We are very serious investor. We take our partnership very seriously. And we believe, having the topic of today, this morning, is Ghana. Ghana is critically important because it's strategically positioned in West Africa. And really, I'm overwhelmed and pleasantly surprised to see the overwhelming show up this morning. Mr. President, this is abnormal. Partly because you are present in the middle, but also the good news, they mean business. They see opportunities exist in Ghana. And I will not indulge into more of speech gimmicks, but really today, we are considered the #1 investors in Africa. When it comes to GCC, total investments in Africa, 88% of the foreign investments in Africa belongs to the UAE investors, which is the highest in the Arab world, or among the Arab world and West Asia, I must say. So without any further ado, I think this shows how serious we are. This shows how serious we are about Ghana. And gladly, I want to say the level of enthusiasm among the UAE investment today. I'm glad to see Mubadala is one of the founders of UAE Investor Council is present with us today. Mubadala is considered one of the most active sovereign wealth fund investors in the last decade. They are very serious investors. Plus, of course, I can see private companies showing up, and I'm glad to see that level of enthusiasm, which is really pleasantly surprising me. I wish we have a pleasant day. We have a forum going on in 1 hour, and we will be having more interactions. And thank you very much for being with us today, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. One of the UAE companies, he was blaming me, I forgot to mention his name, is also Mr. Khalfan Al-Gubaisi Al-Hamad Switchgear. Abu Dhabi Cables also. Allow me now to moving to the next. Would like to invite Mr. Walid Harib, CEO of UAE Trade Center, for his closing remarks right now. Please, Mr. Walid.
Your Excellency, I really thank you for being with us, and actually it's really amazing the support that we are getting from you, the ministers. Really, I'm very honored for all of your support. UAE, His Excellency Ali bin Harmal, His Excellency Jamal Jarwan, His Excellency Khalid. We really appreciate your support. We got really good support from your organization, and also for the UAE companies for coming, and as well as the Ghanaian companies. We are all about business. We are not here, I think when it comes to breakfast, everybody is prepared with breakfast. But I think people, Your Excellency, they are really serious about business. Ghana is really in the radar of UAE companies, and people are interested in taking more opportunity and looking at opportunity in Ghana. Ghana is one of the top 5 economies, Your Excellency, in Africa. And due to the relationship that we have, I really encourage most of the company first to discover. Go. Just, the simple investment that you can do is go and discover. Even as a tourist, if you want to go, just go as a tourist, see the culture, see the, history. This is a country that is full of history. Go, enjoy 3 days, 4 days. I went actually almost as a tourist, and I discovered the opportunities there. And now I'm back as an investor. So I really encourage people, without any expectation. Don't just go counting how much you're going to make, how much. No, just go and discover history. And by the way, some of you, unfortunately, we go with certain stereotypes. For your information, this is the second safest city in Africa, Ghana. This is the second safest city. You walk in the streets, it's a calm city. People are smiley, You really feel welcome. But also, as His Excellency, I don't want to repeat what the Excellency were saying. Different sectors exist: power, manufacturing, and I think Mr. Yufi Grant have mentioned a lot. These are sectors that you need to look at. Therefore, we encourage, and we are here. Our main objective is to support UAE companies and support the partnership between UAE and Ghana. And, the president of a country is welcoming people. And I think that's major positive encouragement for any businessman. You can go and you say, Mr. Walid invited me. Mr. Walid is, is a businessman. But now the president of a country is welcoming you to come to Ghana. So I really appreciate Your Excellency, the encouragement for the companies. And inshallah, we will give you few positive feedback on level of partnership between UAE and Ghana. I really thank you, Your Excellency, for your support.
Thank you very much, Mr. Walid. I would like ask for a group photo, and then we might move forward to the forum on the first floor.
as we welcome His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic of Ghana, and His Excellency Sheikh Shakbut Nayan Al Nayan, Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats as we welcome the delegation. Thank you. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, may I ask you to please stand up as we welcome His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic of Ghana, and His Excellency Sheikh Shakbut Nayan Al Nayan, Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. Your Excellencies, we welcome you to today's forum. Thank you, Your Honorable guests, Your Excellencies, Your Excellency the President, and Your Excellency Sheikh Nayan. I'll now hand you over to the MC for today, Khushbu, who'll take over. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ashraf. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome and a very good morning to one and all. I will serve the Master of Ceremonies for the Ghana Business Forum today under the theme Ghana Limitless Opportunities. Let's kickstart this forum to understand the investment opportunities that Ghana has for all of us and hear the valuable insights from our decision makers of both the countries. Assalamu alaikum everyone. As we begin for the day, I kindly request all of you to switch your mobile phones on silent mode to avoid interruption. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, our media partners, visitors, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all for Ghana Investment Business Forum organized by Ghana Investment Promotion Center. We would like to thank our partners from UAE, Abu Dhabi Department of Economic Development, Abu Dhabi Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the UAE International Investors Council, UAE Food and Beverage Manufacturers Group, UAE Trade Center for supporting us in this initiative. I request you all to stand for the national anthem before we kickstart the speeches from the dignitaries and excellencies. I request you all to please stand for the national anthem.
السلام الوطني للإمارات العربية المتحدة.
The national anthem of United Arab Emirates.
Thank you, everyone. Today's event will provide an opportunity for United Arab Emirates and Ghana to strengthen the trade and investment ties, as well as explore new bilateral relations that will benefit various sectors of their economies. Let's begin today's program by inviting our first speaker, His Excellency Alhaji Ahmed Ramadan, Ambassador of Ghana Embassy to the UAE, on delivering the welcome address. Let's give a big round of applause for His Excellency.
His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana, Honorable Shirley Ayoko Botchwey, Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, His Highness Sheikh Shakbout, Minister of State and Regional Integration at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Ministers, business executives, ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to be here with you this morning. I'm always excited to see Ghanaian officials collaborate with counterparts in the UAE to draw investment into our country. This is certainly in line with government's overall objective of moving Ghana forward beyond aid. Relations between Ghana and the United Arab Emirates remain cordial and have been enhanced by the exchange of high-level visits and continuous collaboration in vital areas of Ghana's development. Ladies and gentlemen, numerous opportunities abound for cooperation between Ghana and the United Arab Emirates, especially in the energy, renewable energy sectors, mining, real estate, and health sectors. The Embassy is committed to supporting all efforts at achieving such mutually beneficial partnership in consonance with the vision of His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana. I wish you fruitful and successful deliberation. Thank you for your kind attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, on your valuable insights about Ghana. Moving forward, to understand the opportunities that Ghana has for UAE companies, may I request you to play a video about Ghana, a land which offers us limitless opportunities. That was a beautiful video highlighting the opportunities in Ghana. Let me introduce you to our next speaker, Mr. Yofi Grant, CEO of Ghana Investment Promotion Center, to deliver his presentation. Let's give a big round of applause for Mr. Yofi.
Your Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana, Your Excellency Sheikh Shakbout Nayan Al Nahyan, Minister of State for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration of the UAE, Shirley Ayoko Botchwey, Foreign Minister, Republic of Ghana, Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh, Minister of Energy, Republic of Ghana, Secretary to the President, Nana Asante Bediye-Tuo, Minister of Environment, Kweku Afriye, and all government officials, high-ranking government officials herein. A warm welcome to this morning session. I must say that we are particularly delighted to be here this morning, and the reason being that the last time we had a session like this, quite a number of opportunities came out, and there are business people here who testify that the short interaction we had a couple of years back actually yielded fruit. And so we are happy to be here again today, and we believe that we'll walk here smiling with each other and holding hands into the future. I would like to first give a bit of exposure to the Ghanaian companies who are here. So if you are here, I'll just mention your name. If you can just give a little wave. We have Mr. Adlex Dade from the KGL Group and chairman of GIPC, who is in the technology space. We also have Mr. Kwame Akoto-Bamfo, who is from the hospitality sector. We have Mr. Jeffrey Amponsa, who is in construction and real estate. We have Mr. John Oparea Samoa, who is into beverages and other production in the minerals, soft drinks area. We have Madam Patricia Poku Diaby, who is in the cocoa processing space. Then we have Dr. Humphrey Ayim Dake of the Redmo Resources, who is diversified. We also have here Mr. Dan Saki, who is from the EcoBank Group in the financial space. We have Madam Roberta Annan, who is also in the finance industry. We have Madam Felicia Chumesi, who is in agro-processing, particularly in the oil palm processing space. We have Madam Angela List, who is in Nguvo Holdings, a diversified company, also looking for opportunities. We have Mr. Gregory Roxon from M Pharma, who is in the technology space. And then Mr. Richard Atalora from Universal Engineering, who is in industry. Others include Mr. Sam Dubik Mahama from the Electricity Corporation is the CEO, Mr. Kelly Gajipo of the Enterprises Group, and also chairman of ECG. We have Ambassador Aaron Okwe from the Ghana Free Zones, and then we have Anita Kweshe also from the Ghana Free Zones. Can we acknowledge them for joining His Excellency the President to come on this trip? I will be very brief this morning because a lot has been said already. The Ghana story, I say, is the story of the 3 O's. The story of opportunities, openness, and optimism. And I always say, despite recognizing these 3 O's, there are 10 reasons why anybody must consider Ghana. First of all, as has been expressed this morning by His Excellency, we are a democratic and politically stable country, and we have the reputation for that. We have a strong and resilient economy, and even in the times of distress, global distress, the Ghanaian economy has still experienced significant growth. Prior to the COVID pandemic, we were growing at an average of 7% per annum. Even during the pandemic, we were one of the only countries, few or only, but probably the only country in our region that did not go into recession. That shows a certain robustness and resilience of the economy. We have a human capital advantage in West Africa, which has inured well to our growing economy. We have better trade, logistics infrastructure, and the port of Tema is potentially currently the largest port in Africa with a potential of 3.7 million TEUs of traffic. We also have vast and diverse natural resource endowment. We have gold, diamonds, timber, bauxite, manganese, lithium, iron ore, oil and gas, which His Excellency spoke about this morning. We also are members of quite a number of regional international trade bodies, particularly ECOWAS, which is a regional trade body in West Africa. And we are known for our friendliness and our great hospitality. And Ghana has virtually become, in quotes, the Mecca for Africans in the diaspora through the Year of Return and Beyond the Return, which hosts a cultural festival in December each year and has brought quite a lot of positive attention to Ghana. We are also constantly engaged in reforming the ease of doing business and making it easier and more fruitful to engage in business in Ghana, but through investment and then onboarding them to businesses. We do have an enabling and competitive business environment in West Africa. And of course, our positioning, our God-given positioning of being the country that can pride itself at being the center of the world. We are the only country on latitude 0 and longitude 0. Means that we are a fantastic position for logistics, because we have a 360-degree view of the world. And as I said this morning, whilst looking north, south, east, and west, we look forward because we are in the center. And we leverage those in our relationships. But let me just quickly go through what the opportunities that are there really mean for you as a business person. I mentioned that we are a strong resource pool. We are possibly the largest producer of gold in Africa. And Africa has over 50% of the world's gold deposits. We are the second largest global producer of cocoa. We have a significantly growing population and middle class, which presents a very important consumer market. We have over 13 million acres of suitable land for agriculture. And as I did say, we are resource rich. So we have bauxite, iron ore, manganese, lithium, diamonds, timber, oil, and gas, not to mention feldspar and many other ornamental minerals. And then we have comparatively available skilled and trainable labor. And we do have a matrix of transformation, which includes ensuring that in the medium term, the minimum education for every Ghanaian will be high school level through what we call the free senior high school program. And then transforming our economy into one of industrialization through a policy called the One District, One Factory, and ensuring that we achieve food security through the Planting for Food and Jobs policies. Our priority sectors over the past few years have been manufacturing, infrastructure, tourism, agro-processing, and energy, particularly sustainable and renewable energy, with a particular focus on expanding distribution and generation in the renewable space, but also, as His Excellency the President said this morning, exploiting our hydrocarbon resources for mutual good, but more for our development. Openness. It's interesting that we use a slide with food, but we are a very open economy. We are known for our political stability and also our ability to engage with our neighbors, but also signing into global trade conventions. And we have a wealth of natural resources which supports our engagement globally. Ghana is ranked second in West Africa for trade and investment risk, with a moderate score of 50.9 out of 100. And more recently, we have been voted as the 5th most likable place to live in Africa. But we also uniquely have this penchant for the rule of law. And so we do engage with our businesses and our companies and our foreign direct investors at the same levels that we engage with local businesses. And as His Excellency the President said this morning at breakfast, when you come to Ghana and you register your investment or your business, you are considered a Ghanaian business. And you get the same treatment as we give our people. We do have a competitive tax system, and gradually engaging in technology as the main ways in which the government engages with the citizenry. And so we have a digital economy that is emerging rapidly and would enable us engage efficiently and without as much human intervention as we want. And the third O, I'd say, is optimism. So we do have the opportunities, we are open for business, and we are very optimistic about our future. We are known as the most attractive investment destination in West Africa, which has a population of approximately 380 million. And Ghana, because of the achievements we've done recently and our unique positioning, is now headquarters to the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, which is a market of 1.4 billion people. So we offer Ghana as the entry point into that significant market, which by 2030 would have grown to 1.7 billion people, and by 2050, approximately 2.6 billion people. It's an actual consumer market waiting to happen, but also an important opportunity for the world's labor market. And we are asking that you do join us to look at these opportunities and make really good use out of it. We were projected by Bloomberg to be one of the fastest growing economies in the world in 2020 and 2021. But as His Excellency said this morning, we are engaged for rapid economic growth. And despite the problems that have beset the world because of the pandemic and the current instability in Europe, we still are on a steady growth to achieve at least a 6% by 2027. And we believe that we can partner with you to make this opportunity happen, but also for our mutual benefit. I did mention that already, so I'll just go by. Also, we've gone through this. We have an annual average foreign direct investments of approximately 2.5 billion recorded between 2017 and 2022. But we believe that with the strategic partnership that we are looking to forge with the United Arab Emirates, we can actually double this. The opportunities are there, the will is there, and we look forward to engaging with you to make sure that this becomes a reality. We are open for business, and we want you to always remember the 3 O's of Ghana. Anytime you hear the name Ghana, remember opportunities, openness, and optimism. So we hope that in today's session, we can really engage and forge that partnership that will make those 3 O's a reality. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Mr. Yufi, for highlighting the opportunities in Ghana. Let me introduce you to our minister from the UAE, His Excellency Sheikh Shakbout Nayan Al Nayan, Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation in the UAE, for his ministerial remarks. Let's give a big round of applause for His Excellency.
Your Excellency, Nana Akufo Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana, Your Excellency, my dear sister, Foreign Minister, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all. On behalf of the government of the UAE, I am delighted to be here today to speak about the strong and growing relationship between the United Arab Emirates and the Republic of Ghana. 2 countries that share a deep commitment to building a brighter future for their peoples through cooperation and mutual understanding. Over the past few years, the UAE has become one of Ghana's key partners in areas of trade, investment, and development. And our 2 countries have signed several agreements to enhance cooperation in the energy, infrastructure, and agriculture sectors. The UAE is one of Ghana's largest trading partners, and investment in Ghana has grown rapidly, with more than $3 billion investment in various sectors such as real estate, agriculture, and tourism. In the area of development, the UAE has been involved in various initiatives, including the construction of schools, hospitals, and water wells, as well as lauding Ghana's efforts in diversifying its economy and reduce the dependence on oil. Your Excellency, the UAE and Ghana also share a strong cultural and historical bond. The UAE has a large community of expatriates from Ghana, and we are committed to fostering stronger ties between our peoples through culture, education, exchange programs. In conclusion, Your Excellency, the relationship between our 2 countries is a shining example of how 2 countries can work together for the betterment of their peoples. We look forward to continuing our partnership and building even a brighter future for our both brotherly countries. It's a great honor to have your presence here, Mr. President, in the United Arab Emirates, and honoring this event today, and I hope for more and closer ties between our 2 nations. I thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for the inspiring speech and the insights on UAE and Ghana. with that great synergy and cooperation boosting between the two countries, we now move to our most enlightening speech of the day by His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, the President of Republic of Ghana, for his presidential address. Let's give a big round of applause for the President of Ghana.
His Excellency, the Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of the UAE, Ghana's Minister for Foreign Affairs and members of the Ghanaian delegation, the Chairman and CEO of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Director General of the Economic Affairs, Abu Dhabi Department of Economic Development, Vice Chairman of the Abu Dhabi Chamber of Commerce, private sector operators of both Ghana and UAE, ladies and gentlemen. I thank the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, the Abu Dhabi Department of Economic Development, and the UAE Trade for creating this forum and for inviting me to deliver these brief remarks in the presence of those of you who are already doing business in Ghana and with those of you who are thinking of doing so, which I hope are several. The importance of this event cannot be lost on anyone, especially as the nations of the world need to strengthen their cooperation to eliminate the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, which have been exacerbated even further by the effects of the Russia-Ukraine war. For us in Africa, these twin events that have taken place in rapid succession have exposed deep structural fragilities in Africa that require urgent attention, particularly in relation to green growth, climate-conscious industrialization, and the creation of resilient economies. What they have taught us, nonetheless, is that it is in the mutual interest of Africa and the United Arab Emirates, and indeed the rest of the world, to forge partnerships and relationships that will guarantee shared prosperity for us all. Ladies and gentlemen, when I assumed office in January 2017 in Ghana, I encouraged all Ghanaians to help government build a business-friendly economy that will enable our nation to get to the stage where the exploitation of the opportunities that are available to us will help us build an optimistic, self-confident, self-reliant, and prosperous nation that is a Ghana beyond aid. Towards realizing this vision, Ghana has made deliberate efforts at determining the investment priorities of the country and taken steps to mobilize the necessary resources for the growth of these priority areas. This is because we want to help transform Ghana from being a mere producer and exporter of raw materials to a value-added industrialized economy that will provide opportunities, jobs, and prosperity for the great majority of Ghanaians. Government has since 2017 put in place measures needed to reduce the cost of doing business, improve the business environment, made the Ghanaian economy not only one of the most business-friendly economies in Africa, but also one of the fastest growing economies in the world between 2017 and 2020, averaging 7% GDP annual rates of growth, up from the 3.4% rate we inherited in 2016. Indeed, with many of the economies of many countries around the world in recession in 2020, having recorded negative growth largely as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, Ghana's economy was one of the few that still managed to record a positive growth rate. That is 0.9% in 2020, albeit significantly reduced from the average levels of 7% per annum that we had become accustomed to in 2017, 2018, and 2019. In spite of the ravages of the pandemic, we're working to grow the economy at a much faster rate this year, our target being a 5.6% GDP growth rate, which will enhance the prospects of a win-win situation for both private sector and country. An environment where companies do not just survive, but actually thrive. In the first quarter of 2021, the GDP of the economy grew at 3.1%. In fact, in the last quarter of 2021, the recovery from COVID-19 appeared to be on course when our economy grew at 7%, only for the Russia-Ukraine war in the first quarter of last year, to exacerbate our challenge. Government has a blueprint for the revitalization of the Ghanaian economy from the effects of the COVID pandemic. We have identified the relevant sectors of the economy requiring the needed investment that will help accelerate the rebound and growth of the Ghanaian economy, as was witnessed in the immediate years before the pandemic struck. We call it the Ghana Cares or Bantampa program. The 100 billion CD program will require some 30 billion CDs from government and 70 billion from the private sector. The program focuses on injecting substantial investments into key sectors of our economy, such as agriculture, agro-processing, manufacturing, healthcare, housing, infrastructural development, and the leisure industry. We have thus far been successful since 2017 in implementing a comprehensive industrial transformation program to reignite the economy by promoting and expanding value addition across the length and breadth of the economy. The implementation of the government's flagship programs, such as the One District, One Factory policy, the program for planting for food and jobs, the planting for food and export program, the port modernization program, and the new integrated trade facilitation and customs management system are all interventions designed to transform the Ghanaian economy and position Ghana as a manufacturing hub of the West African region. These programs have been designed to enable private sector operators to participate fully within the framework of the African Continental Free Trade Area, whose secretariat is headquartered in Accra. We're leveraging the opportunity of serving as hosts of the AFCFTA Secretariat to become the new commercial capital of Africa, a regional trade hub, and a new gateway to the continent. The medium-term outlook, supported by the implementation of the Ghana Cares program, is bright. Ladies and gentlemen, as I intimated earlier, all the countries in the world are working to return themselves to a state of normalcy following the devastating impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war. Economies have been plunged into recessions, businesses have collapsed, and livelihoods and lives have been disrupted. Food and fuel prices have escalated dramatically as global and domestic inflationary pressures mount. Hopefully, sooner rather than later, the world will make up for lost time. In our case, we decided to seek the collaboration of the International Monetary Fund to repair in the short run our public finances and give credibility to our balance of payments, which have taken a severe hit in very recent times as a result of these developments, whilst we continue to work on the medium to long-term structural changes that are the heart of our goal of constructing a resilient, robust Ghanaian economy. I'm confident that we will emerge from this with a stronger and more resilient economy and advance towards our goal of reaching a Ghana beyond aid. Not only is Ghana the best place for doing business in West Africa, but it's also the preferred destination for a perfect blend of mineral resource potential, stable regulatory environment, favorable fiscal regime, and socially responsive mining in Africa. Mining has been a key pillar of Ghana's economy for centuries. Ghana, formerly called the Gold Coast during its colonial era, as a result of the large supplies of market for gold. Today, Gold, which still holds its own as both a commodity and a financial asset, is by far the most commercially exploited mineral in Ghana, accounting for more than 90% of the country's mineral revenue. Indeed, in recent times, Ghana has become the largest producer of gold in Africa and the 6th in the world. We're also major producers of bauxite and manganese, and are indeed the 3rd largest producer of these two minerals in Africa. More recently, Ghana has been placed globally on the map of some few countries that have made significant discoveries of lithium, just as she has found also graphite and iron ore in significant quantity. Ghana is also working towards the net zero emission target and collaborating with other relevant stakeholders in employing climate-friendly technologies and practices to achieve the maximum developmental impact for the country. What we seek to do is not just to exploit these minerals in their raw form to enhance our export earnings, but more importantly, generate value-added benefits along the full chain of the minerals and create linkages with other sectors of the economy. The potentials created offer considerable opportunities for UAE investors who possess the capacity to generate the value-added benefits, especially through the government's local value addition and processing drive. To partner Ghanaian companies in converting their natural comparative advantage into an enhanced, more viable, sustainable, and competitive advantage. The standards for responsible environmental and social stewardship maintained by Ghana's minerals and mining sector is comparable to any found in the best of mining jurisdictions. The Minerals and Mining Act of 2006, Act 703, supported by the regulations passed in 2012, along with a few amendments and introductions that have been made, have stood the test of time. The country has also been a pioneer of virtually all continental and global initiatives to improve governance in the mining sector. Notable examples have included the Global Intergovernmental Forum on Mining and Metals and the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, as well as the Africa Mining Vision and West African ECOWAS Drive. The leisure industry is also expanding rapidly in the country, and investments in infrastructure in the tourist sector is now a major focus of our economy. They offer, again, considerable opportunities for investors from the UAE with considerable expertise in the tourist industry. In spite of our present challenges, I maintain that Ghana is an exciting time to be in Ghana and do business in the country. So I would urge the private sector in the UAE to take advantage of the business-friendly climate in the country to invest in Ghana. Regardless of where you choose to invest in Ghana, government has instituted a number of fiscal incentives for the investor, depending on the nature of the activity or the location of the investment. Our country is rightly considered a beacon of democracy and stability in Africa, with a modern democratic system of governance, with an independent judiciary, and a strong attachment to the rule of law. In the same vein, we're determined to make Ghana an example of rapid economic growth within the context of a well-developed market economy. We welcome greatly the contribution of EA investors to this endeavor. And I want to thank you very much for your presence and attention here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your wonderful speech. It is extremely inspirational to hear you say a lot of what you did about the activities and the strategies that are taking place in Ghana. But I'd like to start off by asking, how do you see the relationship between Ghana and the United Arab Emirates developing going forward?
It has been my ambition, and it is one that I've expressed to the President of the UAE, the occasions that we have met recently, yesterday, as well as when I came here for the expo, that Ghana and UAE should form a strategic partnership for economic development of our two countries. There's a lot that can be leveraged from the relationship when you look at the location and the ambitions of the UAE. The location is a metropolis, is a gateway for Europe, Asia, and for Africa, as well as Ghana being a central pillar of West African development, now the commercial capital of the continent. I think that these two factors provide a natural synergy for two countries to work in developing close economic ties,
Thank you. And actually, I had the pleasure of meeting you again in Expo. That was a wonderful event. And it's great to see you again. And between Expo and now, we've actually had COP27 in Egypt. So one of the things that we'd like to ask, and I think while we are here in Abu Dhabi Sustainable Week, I cannot let you go without asking, what is Ghana's sustainable and green strategy?
A strong one. First of all, the commitments that have been made towards the net zero emission target are ones that feature as central elements of planning, central elements of programming for the future. We are very determined also to assist in the energy transition, taking into account the realities of our country and our own considerable hydrocarbon resources. We're determined also to exploit it in an environmentally sustainable manner. We have a strong plan for developing the green minerals that we have in the country, which are also considerable. And I can see the opportunities for UAE investors strongly in that area. So we're looking at a development plan that has the green transition as its central. One area, though, of concern, and that is the climate adaptation finance, which so far still is posing a challenge to countries like mine and to many other countries in the global south. There's a need for those of us in the global south and the developed world to come to some tangible, meaningful arrangement that will provide the finance for the adaptation. That a lot of money is required. But I think there, the UAE also has a very important role to play, being a trigger and a catalyst for that arrangement.
I mean, certainly, I see the catalyst as a very, very important tool. Your Excellency, I am cognizant of the fact that you have a very, very busy schedule.
Happy you recognize that.
And I know that you've been here since morning. We have been interviewing you. This is not your first interview. You've had a number of speeches. I really don't know where you get the energy from, right? And I really don't want to take any more of your time. But believe me, this conversation could go on a long time. But I also know that you have other obligations. So I'd like to thank you very, very much, Your Excellency. And we hope that we see you a lot more. And I think this is only the start of a wonderful, wonderful relationship, Your Excellency.
I just want to end by saying we are very, very anxious to welcome UAE investors into Ghana, and also the Ghanaian private sector operators who are here, also to think of establishing businesses here in the UAE so that we can have this mutual intercourse and dialogue between our two countries. I think we would benefit, both of us, from this intercourse. Thank you very much indeed for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. And I really love the one-to-one trade aspect. I think that's wonderful.